Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on what time zone you're in or what time you're watching this video. As you can tell, we are back with some Animal Flow by Ren. I am so excited. I didn't think I'd have time to do this evening, but I rushed home just so we can listen to this together, and I am hyped. Without further ado, hope you're all doing awesome, but let's jump right into it. So before we do get started, one thing I wanted to mention is, contrary to most of the videos that we've done, I do kind of want to watch this as a reaction first. And then once that's done, once I've kind of done the reaction, then I'll go back and break it all down. So we're going to be doing this twice. First time is the actual reaction. Second time is the analysis. If you want the analysis instead, I'll put a timestamp in, skip to it. If you want to watch the reaction, let's go, shall we? Love that.
Animal flow. You're in the mind of a cannibal king, where chaos and anarchy roam, and trouble is bubbling under the skin. A certain insanity shows whenever I pick up the mic and begin. Whenever these words that I write with my pen come alive, they ignite like I pulled out the pin. Animal flow. Out in the jungle, I'm ready for war. I'm beating your brains with a bat, I'm swinging it back, and it's spooky, your bike cause I'm bored. Load of the cannibals, bro. A murderous mind that you can't ignore. I wait and react.
Low key, think about I'm going to stop on some of the things that are kind of cool in just the video itself, but think about the fact that the butcher is butchering, and we just saw on the wall it said 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. What do you think he's butchering? Ooh, okay, this will also be a flip on what we do as humans. Dope.
We combat on the counter attack on the king of the jungle, I roar. Animal. Animal flow, I'm the flow CEO. I've got mountains of murderous rhymes. Mountain volcanic, I blow and cause mayhem and panic. There's nowhere to run from my mind. I'm an impassable foe, never slowing, just growing and flowing with intricate lines. Yes, I will dig in my teeth when I bite like a beast. Blood, I drink it like wine. Animal flow, out in the wilderness I will be king. Sit on my throne, I'm the Lord of the Rings. Out on my own, I'm a terrible thing. Animal skins over my shoulders like bling. They will be clothing my sins. I came to win over and over again. I'll take your life with a grin. Animal.
Something I gotta say right here. Think about what's happening right now. He's kind of making the drum beat, like the doom da da doom da da, right? And it's everyone is dancing to the beat of his drum. Such a cool choice in the video. I love that so much.
Animal. Animal. Mary had the little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. It made the blood look so much redder when I slit its throat. Watch it drip, drop, till the ground was soaked. Oh, Mary, Mary, quite contrary how the blood it flows. Horrific, explicit, I feel parasitic, acidic, I'm eating your flesh. Don't fidget, I'm livid, not mentally with it. I get kinda sick when I'm stressed. I am the I am the storm, I am the fury, I am the scorn, I am the belly, I am the beast. Yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I'm an animal, yes, I'm an animal. Yes, sometimes the things I say are irrational. Yes, sometimes the things I do are quite radical. Yes, I will be waging war on the capital. Yes, I will burn the houses of parliament down, cause hypocrites, they burn quite easily. Wow, burn and pillage it all to the ground. Your illegitimate king lost his crown. Animal flow, show no mercy.
He said earlier that he drinks blood like wine, and look at what he just picked up. Red wine. Oh.
Under my rule, I won't be kind, I will be cruel. Drown all my foes in a paddling pool. Yes, I'm tyrannical, bro, so never mistake, I'm man for a fool. I'll take your ignorance right back to school and teach you a lesson for testing my cool. Animal. Animal.
Wow, that was fire. Oh my god, the bass in that, the animal, oh my god, just super cool. The visuals, top notch as always. I can only imagine Samuel directed this, because god damn, it was awesome. All one take, by the way. We basically just followed the room around, not just Ren, we kind of moved around the whole, I want to say apartment, but that looks just extravagant apartment, that we kind of followed him around. and it was all one take. That's amazing. You know how hard that is? And I read a post about him kind of talking about the shoot for this and how it took so many tries. I totally get it now. Like, of course, stuff like this, to keep consistent, it is virtually impossible. You have to run it again and again and again until it's just like you're breathing it. This is how you're doing, and it's perfect. Oh my god. Jesus. That was so sick. Okay, let's run it back. We'll do the analysis, because there was a lot to analyze there. But I'm going to need to pull up the lyrics, so I'm going to pull them up on the side here, because that was a lot. All right, let's go. Oh, I'm excited. All right. So we start off with a doom da doom da doom da, and thinking about what that is, it's making music with your voice. And is that not the most primal form of making music, is just using our voices, or just like small like drums and stuff? And that's pretty much basically like what it feels like most of this is. It's drums and bass, and a lot of that bass comes from the voice. But this goes back to the animalistic nature of it, the very primal essence of this song, and I love that. And just out the gate, like I mentioned earlier, he's the only one not wearing a mask, right? Of an animal mask. He's the only one not wearing one. And that kind of speaks to a couple things. One is maybe he thinks the people around him, or like just the world as a whole, is turned to almost like animals in that sense, or that he feels like animals are the people that we belong with more. Because when you think about the way that humans kind of treat the world, not great. We also treat each other, not great. And so maybe he feels like animalistic behavior is actually better, and that's who he surrounds himself with. And it could be it could be either or. That's dope. I love that. His get up here, it kind of reminds me, I'm sure this is on purpose. He was wearing all white in his video in Illest of Our Time. And I think that was a representation of, like we talked about, kind of like being lost and finding yourself. And finding yourself is kind of wearing the white. And you can see he's really kind of coming into his own now. What's interesting is he does have a black shirt on. And so maybe internally there's still parts of him that he still has to learn about, right? And that's kind of what we talked about in Illust of Our Time. He's still trying to explore his own mind. But for the most part, he's put on this whole new outfit, and it's not the sweatpants and sweatshirt that he had on last time, or jacket that he had on last time. Now it's this fine suit, and he's looking good in that suit. You're killing it, Ren. All right. The cane too. Oh, just all awesome. I love it. The watch.
Animal flow. You're in the mind of a cannibal king, where chaos and anarchy roam, and trouble is bubbling under the skin. A certain insanity shows whenever I pick up the mic and begin. Whenever these words that I write with my pen come alive, they ignite like I pulled out the pin.
I didn't even think about this earlier, but you know the animals playing poker at the table? It's a lot like that picture. There are a lot of animals here. Something to also take note of is the camera is swinging around, almost like it's chaotic, which kind of goes hand in hand with what he was just saying. He's saying basically like he is the cannibal king. Of those that kind of feed on each other, he is top of the food chain, which is basically a lion, right? My assumption is that he is the lion, the king of the kingdom, right? On top of that, he says basically that we're in the mind of that cannibal king, and it's chaotic. It is absolutely nuts in there, and that's what we're seeing. So actually now thinking about that with the visuals, this is kind of his idea of kind of the representations of his mind, possibly. But also just like his mind is a jungle. It's fierce. It's untamed, right? Like the idea of primal nature. That's what's in Ren's mind, and that's what he wants to get back to. And even looking at that stance, it feels like he's primal. Look at you. He's looking right at us like he's seen his prey kind of thing. And that's what he's kind of rising up to the occasion. Like, oh, you're in my home. You're in my mind. Well, here, welcome to my mind. I own this place. And you get that feeling, that sense right out the gate. And there is like he says basically like a certain insanity shows where trouble is bubbling up under the skin. And think about what that sounds like, right? Like your blood is bubbling. It's like you're angry when your blood is boiling, and that's what's happening. But it's this chaos that's causing it, this trouble that's causing it. And on top of that, it's a certain insanity because people think he's crazy for a lot of the things that he does and a lot of things that he says, but he's the most sane person. Or maybe it's even so much further that insanity is better than what we live in now, right? The sanity that we exist in is not great, right? It's not really productive. It doesn't help everyone that it should help. And so to him, insanity is actually a good thing. And that's why he's saying a certain insanity shows. I love that. And then he says basically whenever he picks up a mic, it's like he's pulling out the pin, right? Everything's going to get lit on fire because it's going to explode, right? Pulling a pin is what you do for a grenade. So he's literally tossing a grenade or a bomb, and he's dropping bombs on us, which metaphorically is like dropping dope lyrics, which he always does. And so on top of that, he's saying he's going to ignite everything. He's going to set it on fire. And think about what we use fire for. We say fire is, first of all, it's primal, right? It's one of the first elements that we had some semblance of control over. But on top of that, it's like you're igniting something with passion, right? And that's what he's doing, is he ignites everything with passion, with his love and his energy, or energy, as some of you have been mentioning to me in the comments, and I love that. And it's all done with just the way that he writes. Ren. Shout out to Jem.
They ignite like a
But look at that. It's the image of the dogs playing poker, right? It's that picture. Something else I wanted to mention, if we go back just a little bit, the only person that seems to be treated poorly is the human, the one without a mask, right? And maybe that speaks to the nature of like what Ren is saying, where like the people who have kind of succumbed to society's expectations and rules and what they've kind of posited that we should do is that it's all a problem. And so we're trying to kind of make this torture this person, possibly to convert them to being one of the animals, right? And if we go and look at the back here, it says 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Whatever goes, okay, let's read this out. Whatever goes on the legs, wait, hang on. What? Whatever goes on the legs is an enemy? Okay. Whatever goes upon 4 legs, or 2 legs, it's 2 legs. Whatever goes on 2 legs is an enemy. Whatever goes on 4 legs or has wings is a friend. No animal shall wear clothes. No animal shall sleep in a bed. No animal shall drink alcohol. No animal shall kill any other animal, and all animals are equal. Yo, this is such a great comment on society, because think about the way that we use animal. We say that person's being an animal when they're being deranged, or we think that they're being out of expectation, right? They're doing something that doesn't fit in with society. But here, in his mind, all the things that we have kind of shunned and put into the shadows because we don't want to talk about them or feel uncomfortable with them, those are the things that make Ren feel like he's at home, right? Because he talks about like violence, depression, and all that, but he talks about it in a positive way because he's exposing the things that we need to be talking about in society. And he's now putting this on the wall, essentially saying that the way that humans are thinking is actually the wrong way to be thinking. So anyone that's walking on 2 legs, which is kind of ironic because there's a lot of people with 2 legs in the video, but obviously they're all people wearing masks, so they typically are treated as animals. But this individual who doesn't have the mask, who does walk on 2 legs, is being bent and broken in that sense, being tortured to the point of trying to help them from our perspective. But people would call that insanity, which goes back to what he was saying earlier. Okay, this is gonna be a long one. Apologies.
I pulled out the pen. Animal flow.
Ooh, and that sound.
In the jungle, I'm ready for war.
That is so primal. That just gives me like energy. I love that. And look how everyone's kind of like chilled out, even amongst the torturing happening. But now we're kind of following him with the shot, and he's leading us, right? He's showing us the way. Ooh.
Night like I pulled out the pen. Animal flow. Out in the jungle, I'm ready for war. I'm beating your brains with a bat. I'm swinging it back, and it's spooky. I bite 'cause I'm bored. Lord of the cannibals.
And it's spooky. I bite because I'm bored. He's bored with the way things have been so far, and the fact that they're not changing, they're stagnant. He wants to change that, and the way that he's doing that is now like he's ready for war. That's what he just said. So even though before he's been rather peaceful, right? He's been kind of conforming himself. Now it's like, no, I'm done with that. I'm done with the way that things have been the same the whole time. I'm changing that force of will, and that's what he's talking about here. Whew. And we see the butcher, like I mentioned earlier. He's working on meat, but meat in this world wouldn't be meat of an animal, it'd be meat of a human. So maybe that's what we had over on the cage for, right? And it kind of shows 2 different things, because some people might be like, that's disgusting, that's mortifying. How could you even think of putting that on the screen? But we do that to animals every day, right? And now I'm not like, I honestly, I eat meat, so this is kind of, it's going to be hypocritical, but realistically, like thinking about the way that that's presented is that all life is equal. And so in that sense, by eating and feeding on animals, we're actually kind of doing the opposite of when we say that all life is equal. And he wants to bring that back. And that's where all this insanity, that's where all the passion, the fire comes from. And that's why they're butchering the human as opposed to the animals. Okay.
roar. I'm beating your brains with a bat and I'm swinging it back and it's spooky. I bite 'cause I'm bored. Lord of the cannibals, bro. A murderous mind that you can't ignore. I wait and react with combat on the counter attack. On the king of the jungle I roar.
Animal.
There it is, King of the Jungle. I missed it on the first time, but King of the Jungle. King of the Jungle is a lion, right? So he's the lion. He's the king, the apex predator. And that's because he's ready. And look at the wall. It says ready for war. What's that say? Skin? We'll check that in a second. But basically he's saying he's the Lord of the cannibals. So those who eat each other alive, he will be their king. He will teach you the right way of doing things. But it's cannibals in the sense that people, even if you think about the music industry, like they feed on each other, right? Like it's a matter of who's at the top now, but he's saying, I'm going to be at the top now and I'm going to change things for the better. I'm pulling that pin, I'm tossing that grenade, I'm blowing things up because things need to change, right? And one of the cool things he says is he waits and reacts with combat on the counterattack. So he's not trying to be someone who's aggressive, right? He's ultimately saying that he's only gonna choose like combat and conflict if you do something that steps outside the boundaries of what should be done. And so that's a real good comment, because really the best offense is a good defense, and that's kind of what he's saying there. And one of the other cool things there, he says a murderous mind that you can't ignore, and that's why we're inside that mind now. We're traveling through that mind because it's a mind that we can't ignore. Ooh, okay. And all along the back, we see the words that he's kind of talking about here. So the jungle, animal flow, cannibal king, all of this stuff here, right? But also, like I was saying earlier, all the other animals that we're seeing in the video are moving to the beat of his drum. So every time his hardcore drumming comes in, which sounds almost tribal, doesn't it? It's got that primal vibe to it. It sounds like going back to the old days, that kind of thing. Like back to the cave days, or even back to like tribes who are more kind of akin to tribalism. I don't know a better word for that, but like that drumming sense, right? That and that's kind of what we're hearing. And so everything is moving to the beat of his drum now because he's the king. Oh, so cool. So cool.
Animal flow, I'm the flow CEO. I've got
all the one shot is so cool too. Like, damn. And I love how he's just chilling in his house, right? It's like crazy things going on around him, but he's so calm, cool, and collected, which speaks to the fact that he's the king. He's not shaken by any of this.
Animal flow, I'm the flow CEO. I've got mountains of murderous rhymes. Mountain volcanic, I blow and cause mayhem and panic. There's nowhere to run from my mind.
Oh my god. I wonder if that's like a callback to Mount Vesuvius. But he's basically saying he's the flow CEO. He's the one at the top, the best flow in the game, the one who can run the game. But on top of that, he says he's mountainous or mountain volcanic, because his mind is constantly bubbling with these rhymes that he's going to like spray out to us, and no one can escape it, right? Because if it explodes, if it erupts, which it does, everyone is caught in the flow. Not even necessarily in a bad way. He says there's nowhere to run, but it's not necessarily in a bad way, right? Maybe getting caught up in the flow, this flow, is actually good. And when you think about flow, that goes back to lava, which is kind of a liquidy substance. And so that's what he's saying is his mind is full of hot flow, like hot lava, which is that liquid, which is giving to us. Woo! Okay.
Murderous rhymes. Mountain volcanic, I blow and cause mayhem and panic. There's nowhere to run from my mind. I'm an impassable foe, never slowing, just growing and flowing with intricate lines. Yes, I will dig in my teeth when I bite like a beast. Blood, I drink it like wine.
That actually kind of jump scared me the first. Hey, wait a second, that's a lion. You're not Ren. Come on now. Oh, but maybe this goes back, and this guy's wearing the opposite to what Ren is wearing, right? Ren is wearing white jacket, white pants, and black shirt. This guy's wearing black jacket, white shirt, black pants, which is the opposite. And so that's also another possibility that like it's the multiple aspects of himself that we're seeing. But on top of that, he's saying he's an impassable foe. Anyone that tries to escape can't. Like you can scream and run as much as you want, but he's going to catch up to you because you can't stop him. He's like a moving train. He's got the momentum now and there's no stopping him. And that's freaking awesome. And I love that. And so one of the things he says is like his whole flow is intricate lines, but design, it's all a design. And when he ultimately like digs his teeth in, when he bites like a beast, that's when he drinks like wine. And so what he's saying is he's using his lyrics the animal flow that he has to essentially bite into the world and cause this change, right? He's drinking the blood of his enemies, like we've been kind of talking about, but his enemies are negative values, people who are abusing the system, that kind of thing. And so he's saying that ultimately, like, if you're one of those people, yeah, you should be scared because he's coming for you. And he knows it, and we know it, and we love it. Oh, okay. And I love that that's kind of what we're seeing here when he says he'll bite. It's the lion that shows up to chasing someone else down. Oh, Ren, stop. Don't stop.
Digging my teeth when I bite like a beast. Blood, I drink it like
I love how he's confused.
Animal flow. Out in the wilderness, I will be king. Sit on my throne, I'm the Lord of the Rings. Out on my own, I'm a terrible thing. Animals.
Oh, the Lord of the Rings. Oh my god. First of all, Lord of the Rings, love it. Shout out to Lord of the Rings. Please watch it if you have not. The extended versions are a little bit longer. You don't need to necessarily watch those, but they're pretty good. But look at how the other animals are treating him, right? Because they realize that he's deserving of respect, and he's basically the best one of every one of them. And that's because that's the way that the music industry should be treating him, right? But not just the music industry, just like his ideals, the ideals that he kind of presents are very fantastic ideals for progress, for positive social change. And that's the way that people should be kind of flocking to him, and the way that they are flocking to him. Not necessarily trying to rip his clothes off. I'm sure some of us are, but in this sense, like kind of almost worshiping the ideals, not even necessarily the person, but the ideals. Oh, I love it. Oh my God. But he basically says, sits on his throne. He's the Lord of the Rings. Cause in the Lord of the Rings, Sauron is like the one who's the Lord of the Rings, right? That's what he's called. And he's the one who holds all the power with that ring. And so he holds that ring like he's Sauron, like the eye. And if you think about the eye, he's the watchful eye that looks for anyone that's kind of going against what his ideals are. Jesus Christ, the layering of this song is nuts.
Thing, animal skins over my shoulders like bling. They will be clothing my sins. I came to win over and over again. I'll take your life with a grin. Animal.
Okay. Animal skins over my shoulders like bling. And so it's the other individuals that he would consider kind of his enemies that he's wearing the skins of, right? But on top of that, you could even think of it as another layer of maybe he's saying he has animal skin, right? And he wears it like bling because that's what it is to him. He doesn't want to be a human if being human means being a shitty person. And that's what he's saying here. And so he's saying they will be clothing my sins, which his sins are going after them, breaking them, murdering them, but murdering in the sense of doing it for change. And that's what he's doing. And so the fact that he's kind of going animalistic is actually a positive here. And that's what we're seeing, because it's clothing his sins in the sense that it's covering the sins, because it's it's compensating for the sin of murder, because he's doing it for positive reasons, in the sense that he's trying to create effective change. Oh my God. And he says basically, like, I take your life with a grin. And that's just it, right? He's taking your life if you're the person who's not doing right by others. And so he'll do it with a grin because you don't deserve it. Oh man. All one shot too. Like, that's the other aspect of this. Keep an eye on that. It's all just one tracking shot. Impossibly difficult to do.
Again, I'll take your life with a grin. Animal. 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 Mary had the little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. It made the blood look so much redder when I slit its throat. Watch it drip, drop, till the ground was soaked. Oh, Mary, Mary, quite contrary how the blood it flows.
Listen to the way he does that. Like, with his voice, it almost sounds like he's going a little bit insane, but like almost like he's excited by the insanity, right? And when we think about Mary, she had a little lamb, and that lamb is supposed to be innocent, right? And so what we're saying here is that those who we think are innocent in this game that we're playing, they're not innocent, right? They're actually the bad guys a lot of the time. We just don't necessarily recognize it as that. And so what he's saying is he's slitting her throat, and he's excited by the idea because she's actually contrary to what she's meant to represent, because she's not so innocent. And so he's spilling the blood, and he's excited by the red drops. And oh man, that is so good. Holy smokes. And even again, here we're talking about flow, right? The blood, it flows, and it's now the blood of his enemies, and it's still his flow. Oh man. And he's just standing waiting for them to bring Mary down, because it's almost like she's being brought down for her trial or for her execution.
Brown was so, oh Mary, Mary, quite contrary how the blood it flows. Horrific, explicit, I feel parasitic, acidic, I'm eating your flesh. Don't fidget, I'm livid, not mentally with it, I get kinda sick when I'm stressed. I am the I.
I love how the animals turn to look at us like it's almost like we don't belong here right now. They're recognizing that we're not actually supposed to be here necessarily, but he's bringing us through. So they're like, okay, if he's bringing them through, well, he's the king of the jungle, so we'll let it happen, right? It almost reminds me of Inception. If anyone here has watched Inception, like the subconscious parts of your mind will try to excise the people that enter that are not you, and it's almost like that, like where the mind is trying to kind of recognize that we don't necessarily belong here, but the fact that Ren is with us, they're okay with it. Something else that he says is that the whole thing is like horrific, explicit, is really bad, right? But he's basically saying that like he bleeds parasitic, which is his flow. He was talking about the blood earlier. He bleeds parasitic. He's feeding off of these negatives, but he's turning them into a positive because parasites take from their host, and the hosts that he feeds on are negative. And so he is basically taking those negative hosts or the negative ideologies or the negative people in the world, and he's taking what they're doing, feeding off of that hate or negativity, and then using it as a resource to fuel positive change, which is so dope. I love it. And then something else that he mentions to us is basically that he's saying like he is sick with it, but he also gets kind of sick when he's stressed, because this kind of goes back to the experience he's been having medically, where over time, like it's anytime he's been kind of feeling stressed out or things have gotten really bad, he's kind of experienced these bouts of difficulties. And we saw a bit of that in Illest of Our Time, where he was kind of like, oh, I feel sick, I don't feel so well, and he's like tripping all over the place. And that's what it is, right? And that happens when you're experiencing stress or pain or difficulties. You start to feel a little bit more like almost sick, but distressed and just not yourself. And that's kind of what he's talking about here, alluding to that. But even amongst that, he's still the king of the jungle, because he still recognizes what needs to be done. He still has the power to push through it, which is what he's doing now. Damn.
I am the storm, I am the fury, I am the scorn, I am the belly, I am the beast. Yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I'm
Let me go back, because I read the lyric there. I need to go back to show you that part.
I am the scorn, I am the I am the I am the storm, I am the fury, I am the scorn, I am the belly, I am the beast. Yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I'm an animal. Yes.
Okay. I am the I am the storm. Now think about what the metaphor is, the eye of the storm, right? He is not only the individual who is the storm, bringing this chaos and manifesting this huge, massive change of the weather, right? Or change in society, but also he is the eye of the storm. And the eye of the storm is where there's that bout of peace, right? So he has both the serenity of being at peace, but also the anger and the chaos and the power to change that the storm has. God damn, that's probably one of my favorite lines on this whole thing. And I am the belly, I am the beast. That he's like, you know how you say you go into the belly of the beast? Well, he is the belly. He is the beast. So anyone who travels into anywhere near him, they're putting themselves in danger if they're not if they're not there to do good by him, because he will take you out, because he is the beast. He's the king of the damn jungle, right? And he is ready to take on everybody, and he will. And this is where we start to see an animalistic side of him. Also not a mask that I think I recognize. So maybe this is the untamed part of himself, or I could be completely wrong. But this is part of himself he's still trying to tame, and this is that animalistic side of him. But animals are a good thing. Man, it's all so crazy. Oh, it's so good. Oh my God. It's just...
I am the scorn, I am the belly, I am the beast. Yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I'm an animal. Yes,
even that, it almost sounds like, you know, like when someone's like trying to... I don't know, like it almost sounds like when they're like, yes I am, yes I am, yes I am. It's almost like he's got to reach back to that childishness of him, to reach to that willingness to just jump over everything. You know when you're young and you feel invincible, right? That's almost like how he feels now. And that's why we get that kind of energy of yes I am, yes I am, yes I am. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. I wonder if that's what he meant by that. That's super cool.
I am the belly, I am a beast. Yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I'm an animal. Yes, I'm an animal. Yes, sometimes the things I say are irrational. Yes, sometimes the things I do are quite radical. Yes, I will be waging war on the capital. Yes, I will burn.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's it. That's what we're talking about, right? This is why he's considered an animal. Is because of the fact that people think that he's deranged, right? This is what we were saying at the start. People think he's deranged for some of the things that he says, like, oh, what, you don't want capitalism? What's wrong with you? What? You want social change for progress? What's wrong with you? And yet here he is saying, like, yeah, you know what? That's exactly, I'm all about that. I'm all about, if you want to call me an animal, yes, I am an animal. I am the animal. I am the beast that you have now uncaged, and I am here to mess with the system because the system's broken. It doesn't just need fixing, it needs to break entirely and change as a whole. And that's what he's saying. Yo, oh my God. Oh my God. The hype that I get from this and Illest of Our Time are just so, there's so much hype. Every song he does is so powerful in its own right, whether it's for getting you the energy to kind of push forward, like power, whether it's kind of to create social change, like, or I guess not so much Animal Flow, but Hyren to kind of give you an insight into the mind, whether it's to give you that hype like Animal Flow or Illest of Our Time. So many versatilities to Ren. And this is why he's so damn talented. Like, he's so cool. I love everything this guy does. Man, Ren, you're fantastic, my dude. Holy smokes.
Sometimes the things I do are quite radical. Yes, I will be waging war on the capital. Yes, I will burn the houses of parliament down, cause hypocrites, they burn quite easily. Wow, burn and pillage it all to the ground. Your illegitimate king lost his crown.
Because hypocrites, they burn quite easily. Wow. Because think about that. When you actually catch a hypocrite in their lie, it's like they have no idea what to say because they're caught in their lie now. Right? And that's what he's saying is like, wow, these people in parliament, these people in power, they're hypocrites. And when you really actually approach them and ask the real questions and you're not just pandering to them, they fall apart pretty easily. And that's what he's saying is, I will set fire to anything that I feel is wrong and I will change it. I will be the one that changes it. And that's what he's doing. He says the hypocrites, they're the first to go. They're the ones that light on fire like this. And that's what he's saying. And he says, burn and pillage it all to the ground. And think about burn and pillage. We think of that as a very negative thing, right? Like, in the days long gone, there would be Vikings that would burn and pillage a village. And that's what he's using it as here, but it's in the positive sense because he's burning and pillaging the problems in the world. I love that. On top of that, he grabs the blood because he's talking about how he's going to go do it, and he's already drinking the blood of his enemies as he walks through. Oh, I wonder how many glasses they had to fill up, because if they had to do a bunch of retakes, I wonder how many times they had to do that. Like, maybe there's been like 60 glasses that we don't see. Someone's like washing and scrubbing furiously in the kitchen. I love that idea. And then the last thing he says from what we just heard is, your illegitimate king lost his crown. Because we give them this power, right? We assign them this power, but they're not really the person that we believe them to be or who they should be. And so they're an illegitimate king. And so that king has lost its crown, and he, the now king of the jungle, is taking that crown for himself. Yo, Ren, holy shit, man.
Legitimate king lost his crown. Animal flow, show no mercy under my rule. I won't be kind, I will be cruel. Down on my foes in a paddling pool. Yes, I'm tyrannical, bro, so never mistake a man for a fool. I'll take your ignorance right back to school and teach you a lesson for testing my cool. Animal.
Yo, you mentioned school. No, I'm joking, but kind of. So he says, show no mercy under my rule, because he's like, listen, all you people that have been messing around for so long, you haven't actually wanted change. You've been bullshitting us for like 99% of the time. And so all of you who kind of messed around and didn't actually live up to the promises that you kept or were supposed to keep, well, I don't have any mercy for you. I will burn you to the ground just like he did everyone else. He's defeating all his foes. But his foes are not people that have done right. It's those that have done wrong. And so, yes, he will be tyrannical if he has to be, because that's what it takes to change the system. And that's what he's saying. So never mistake him for a fool, because he's not foolish. This isn't stupid what he's doing. What he's doing is trying to create effective, positive change. And that's what he's thinking of doing right now. And that's what he's acting on. And that's what we're seeing, this revolution of people who are tired of the bullshit, tired of the status quo, and want things to change. And he's like that lightning rod that draws us all together and gives us a platform. Even if it's not through us speaking, it's through him speaking, because he creates that change by just exposing a bunch of the stuff that we see. I love that. And so ultimately he says, I'll take your ignorance back to school, because he's the teacher. He will show you where your ignorance will lead you. And ultimately what he's saying is your ignorance, because it's your lack of understanding of other people, your lack of understanding of what it takes to have society function correctly, your lack of understanding of what it takes to keep this planet alive for longer than what we're kind of on the track line for right now. And he'll take all that and he'll teach you why it's wrong. But even if you think about that, it's not that he's going to, in that sentence specifically, many people, when you're gonna find your enemies, you won't teach them. You just deal with them in whatever way, shape, or form. And he has been talking about killing, but here he actually extends that olive branch of, I'm gonna take you back to school and show you. But also, when you school someone, the kind of colloquial way or like the slang way, it's like, yeah, you're gonna take him down. You're gonna make him look like an idiot, right? So you're gonna school him. And then he says, I'm gonna teach you a lesson for testing my cool. How dare you do such illegitimate things and think you can get away with it? Well, you know what? Ren is done with it. And he will show you, he will teach you that lesson that you need to change. Oh, shit. Oh my God, I'm so hyped. Holy smokes.
Teach you a lesson for testing my cool.
Animal. Oh, and look, oh man. And they're eating like food, but think about what that food is. It's two-legged people, right? So it's the humans that have kind of succumbed to their darker sides to them, right? I love that. And so, man, so the animals as a whole, I've been kind of thinking of them as the demons, the outsiders. Maybe the outsiders were right the whole time. And we kind of talked about that a little bit in Sick Boy, where it seemed like the pig was actually helping for a second there. But maybe this is like the actual truth, where it's like the animalistic side of us needs to come back, because what we've turned humanity into is a joke. It's a farce of what it should be. And when we think we're above animals, but we're not, right? We shouldn't think that way, because we share this planet with these animals. We share this planet with other people, and we should treat others the way we want to be treated. And that's what he's showing us here. Yo, Ren, how do you do such cool metaphors with such great lyricism, with amazing music? Because this beat is on fire, and it's not even like, it's an intricate beat to a certain extent, but it doesn't even require that much, right? It's a lot of like bass and drums and his voice and vocals, and it's just so cool. Oh my God, my God.
Fool, I'll take your ignorance right back to school and teach you a lesson for testing my cool. Animal.
People showing up from both sides, too, inside the house and outside. Yo, think about the metaphor of this. So one, we were inside his house, his mind, right? But now he's taking his mind to the streets. He's going beyond just keeping it in his mind. Now he's expressing it to everyone else, right? And so now he's walking the streets, and look at all the people he's collected along the way. All of these animals that have joined the cause because they agree with the things that he's saying. And all of them have like some element of either black or white, which kind of is what he's wearing, including his cane. And he's ready for war. Look at the look on his face as he's walking down the street. This is a war path, because he's ready to go to war with those who are either treating him like shit or treating the world like shit. Oh my God, Ren. Holy smokes. Just look at this expression on his face. It's like that determined, ready for anything kind of expression. And I almost swear he has a bit of a limp, which might signify that he's already been in battle, but like I'm not sure. Yeah, there's definitely like a bit of like
Animal.
Oh, and we're ready for war, because Red has got us our sergeant, our general. Oh my God. So awesome. That was so awesome. Another one that I'm going to be basically just having on repeat, just listening and listening. Guys, since I've listened to Power, I must have broken the YouTube replay button. Like YouTube, every time I go to YouTube, is like, hey, do you want to listen to the mix of Power? Because I know you've been listening to 500 times. Yeah, you're right, YouTube. You know, I do want to listen to Power. And then what does it have next? Blind Eyed, because that's what I would have gone to next. So YouTube knows I have a slight, only minor, but really major obsession with basically all of Ren's tracks right now. Fire. And the comments on society, the way the video was shot, all of this was just Fantastic. I love that. And the fact that we end going from inside the house, which is his mind, to on the streets where he's garnered the support, but also where the animals are set free, ready to roam the earth because they're the ones that have kind of had the right idea of what should be done. My God, just so fantastical. I love this. I loved all of this. I was so excited, and it lived up and then went beyond the hype. This whole thing was fantastic. Oh man, okay. I'm done gushing for the 800th time about Ren. If you liked the video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you liked, just honestly, we're having such great conversation in the comments. It's been a blast. Getting to know each and every one of you. Sorry, just to step away from the video a second. Getting to know each and every one of you has been such a delight. And I talk about this all the time when people ask me like about the videos I'm making. I'm like, listen, the part I enjoy the most is usually the conversations that we have because they're so great. Honestly, we get to talk about so many different things. We're meeting people from all around the world, having these conversations. People are sharing some of their experiences, whether they're good or bad, and we're able to support each other through everything. God damn, I love you guys. You guys are fantastic. This could not be any better. Getting to enjoy this video with all of you is such a journey. I love it so much. Thank you all for making this possible. And honestly, I hope your week is better than your day, your month is better than your week, and your year is better than your month. And I hope that everything that you want to have happen comes true. Something else that's sappy, I don't know. Honestly, I'm just feeling a lot of love. Love you guys. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you on the next one.